I think I have watched almost every presidential and vice presidential debate since the first four Kennedy-Nixon debates in 1960, and thinking back over the last few minutes, I don't believe that I have ever seen a debate in which one participant was as openly disrespectful of the other as Biden was to Paul Ryan tonight. And that's what it was. You can talk about the smirks, the smiles, the head shaking, the mugging. It was openly contemptuous and disrespectful.
That was, of course, Chris Wallace, longtime veteran political reporter and anchor of Fox News Sunday, getting some attention with his comments last night about Vice President Joe Biden. And Chris Wallace should know because he has seen just about every presidential and VP debate over the past 5 decades. But do you agree? Peter Johnson Jr. is a Fox News legal analyst, and he sees a tactic in the vice president's approach.
The tactic was, I guess, to provide energy and excitement to a failing campaign in many respects. That debate that Obama had some 10 days ago or something was devastating to the campaign. So instead, we had this episodic smiling, laughing, smirking, scorning, contempt, as Chris Wallace was saying. And it became almost a pathology. It became more than a strategy. It became kind of almost obsessive behavior, this kind of impulsive behavior that he couldn't control himself. And so in speaking to people, they said, I really couldn't watch parts of it because I was trying to listen to Congressman Ryan, and I saw on the split screen that Joe Biden was having an absolute meltdown in terms of his face movements, in terms of his laughing. And there was a lot of it that was offensive, frankly. When you talk about Iran and the risk of nuclear war, when you talk about Libya and the death of 4 great Americans, to see the vice president laughing, openly laughing, and laughing in a hostile, aggressive, scornful way, that's disconcerting and disturbing and maybe even alarming. So I think it started out with a strategy that he wanted to be getting an attaboy when he returned to the White House. Say, Joe, you really put it to him. We picked up 2 points. You made the points to women about abortion, and you're great. But I think it fell apart because it's more than disrespect. It's more than rudeness. It comes down to temperament. It comes down to fitness for office.
You have to watch out. You can be disrespectful, I guess, to your opponent in a political race. You know, you can, and
Sure.
some do. But you have to be respectful of the audience. That's where you can get into the danger zone if you disrespect their right to hear both sides. But wait, on your point about smiling when we're talking about things like Iran getting a nuclear bomb and, you know, wiping Israel off the face of the map, even Tom Brokaw, not exactly known for his conservative principles, said this on MSNBC this morning.
I just don't think you should be laughing during a discussion about thermonuclear war with Iran. I mean, that's it's a very serious issue, and however amused you are, it's about tone as well as.
So what do? You can see the host disagreed with him.
I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but there's something called inappropriate affect, acting in an appropriate way under appropriate conditions. You were a superb lawyer, and we talked about this before. You can disagree with a witness. You can disagree with an opponent in the courtroom. You can disagree with someone in the city council race. But when you're sitting in front of millions and millions of Americans and you're discussing serious issues, it's not about you. And it's not about your ego. It's about imparting a message. Now, if the message is scorn, disrespect, contempt, perhaps hatred or dislike for your opponents or their positions, then that sends an important signal to viewers because they say, well, here's a guy, if we need a compromise in this country, and I think we do on a lot of issues, he's not going to forge that compromise.
Well, that's the thing. In a courtroom, you can go after a witness. You can. And you can go after him hard and aggressively, but they have to earn it. Otherwise, you risk alienating the jury. And the same seems to be true in a debate. You can go after your opponent hard, but you better not be contemptuous unless you have assurances that the audience feels the same way about the person
you're absolutely
going
right.
after.
In doing it, he became a parody of himself. In doing it, people understand that these gaffes that he's committed in the past, these so-called gaffes, some of them are not gaffes.
But a lot of them have been lovable. I mean, a lot, when, you know, not lovable, but, you know, you can forgive him. You know, when he said to he thought the guy's mother had died, and he said, oh, she's alive, oh, God, free.
Right.
Like, that is forgivable.
That's real life. But when you say you're going to be back in chains, now, is that forgivable? or is that intentional?
We've seen eroding favorability numbers for the vice president since he's made comments like that. What do you think he did last night on that score?
Oh, in favorability, I think he went down. I think this is kind of a throwback to a period that really didn't exist. Perhaps he's watching too many episodes of Boss on cable television. Perhaps he's watching old Huey Long tapes. Perhaps he believes that this is the way that a vice president should act. I think more than embarrassing himself and not being political about it, you embarrass the office of the presidency and the vice president of the United States when you do that. And I talked about it this morning. You know, you can't become a cartoon character. You can't become a movie character. He should not be channeling Dr. Evil in his laughing. He should have been serious about it. The Americans are going to make a decision based upon the issues and how they're feeling. But they shouldn't be making it based upon what we saw yesterday. Unfortunately, we are going to be making that decision based upon what we've seen. Does he have the judgment and temperament to step into the presidency at a hard time? This was a tense moment, but there were more tense moments as a president or vice president, and I don't think he met the standard last night.